We are recording. As of today, when we are recording, it is April the 25th. If you're watching this, it's sometime in July, probably. Maybe August. Anyway, yeah, what we're doing here is we're writing a book together. We have been plotting for the last 3 weeks. We're going to keep on plotting today because we're both plotters and books have a lot of plot, theoretically.
We'll see how much we stick to it, but
yeah, if you haven't watched any of these before, welcome. We're glad you're here. You can watch the 3 other videos to get caught up, or you can just dive right in here. We're writing an adult horror.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Dark, contemporary, fantasy, horror, whatever is flashy at the time we want to market.
Yeah. Whatever sells.
Yeah. It takes place on a little seaside island, a little fishing town on the island. Mysterious things are happening. There's a void girl and a rider girl. They're going to be enemies to lovers, a little monster action.
Demons involved.
Yeah, everyone's a bad person and they're only going to make each other worse.
Great.
Yeah, it's going to be great fun. And so, yeah, we talked a lot last week about some of the big plot points we were going to hit, and then things we talked about maybe moving into figuring out this week was what the big finale is going to be, what the climax would be, what sacrifices are made, all those things, and also what the big betrayal was.
Yes.
Backstory, because that'll kind of inform. And also I researched lighthouses.
Oh, you actually did. Awesome.
I'm not an expert, but I learned a few things.
Does our analogy work? Our metaphor?
I think it'll work.
Okay.
Some things I learned. So lighthouses, not used very often anymore, just aesthetic, because we have radios and satellites and everything. And I thought that was hilarious that they would be like, no, we're still going to use the lighthouse.
If it's a religious thing for them.
Yeah.
Definitely would.
Yeah. I also learned most of them are electric now. And I thought a scene would be hilarious if like monsters are closing in and the electricity has gone out. The generator is toast and they have to figure out how to manually light it.
Oh, like the old school way?
Yeah.
Nice. That'll be good. Let's write down a little bit about their lighthouse. We could definitely have it if we wanted it to be the lighthouse. Have it be not electric if they're really stuck in the old ways, or if we want it to be electric and we want the scene with the generator going out. That would be very creepy, actually.
Yeah, I kind of want it to be whenever Eden finally does take Lily up to see the actual light part of the lighthouse. She's like, I really thought that you were tending to this and it's electric.
That would be funny. It'd also be kind of good if maybe something happens while they're fighting, so that not only does the lighthouse light go out, but it somehow affects the whole town, so the whole town falls into darkness.
Yeah,
that would be very creepy, especially if it's just before dark and the foghorn still works somehow. I don't know how it would still work with the electricity off, or maybe the electricity off and it shouldn't work, but it does. That would be very spooky. All lights. So one of the big questions was the betrayal. Did we have another big question that we were like, oh, we're going to think about this?
I think just the climax in general.
Okay. I guess we should figure out the betrayal first, because that will affect a lot. So we already have Eden's, well, we already kind of have Lily's betrayal being basically taking their story and making a shit ton of money off of it. And then she's still being horrible because she's coming back and she's going to basically take Eden's life story again and do the same thing and pull a disappearing act again. And then Lily's just fucked off and left her friend on the island after they swore. So I feel like Lily has multiple levels betrayed her. So we just needed, was it Eden's betrayal we just needed?
So a question I had regarding this is like, was she writing the book when they were a teenager? Because otherwise her leaving would like suck, but is it like a mega
I feel
betrayal?
like I did picture her writing the book, starting to write the book and fancying herself like a writer before she left. And so I feel like if a lot of their childhood conversations, like maybe she took notes of them, and then of course Eden would be like, how much of our friendship was genuine and how much of it was you doing stuff for the story you were going to write about us, you know, like that would be a major betrayal.
Yeah. What if she like stole Eden's diary too?
A thing that she is still doing when she comes back to the island, because we were going to have her like record Eden and stuff. Okay,
yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
So maybe like the first betrayal is that like Eden starts to get cold feet about leaving.
So okay, so the betrayal on Eden's part, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Eden's betrayal. Cold feet.
And that'll just be the start of it.
I know the number one thing she could do involving the betrayal for Lily would be something to do with either her parents or the cult, because that would be like Lily's intensely sensitive spot, I guess.
Yeah.
So it'll have to be something to do with that. Maybe specifically, I'm trying to decide if I want to make Lily's parents like actually kind of abusive, or they're just like so brainwashed by the cult that everything is to do with the cult, or something in between. Maybe they're so brainwashed by the cult that they are doing things to Lily that are borderline abusive.
Yeah, like
not sure what, but
you can't see how things you're doing are like hurting someone, even if it's not like outright. It's like, well, this is clearly hurting me emotionally.
Yeah. Well, particularly if she's rebelling, Lily, and is like, I don't believe this, I don't believe in this. Things like, we're protecting you from actual demons. So maybe they would be locking her in her room, which that type of thing. What
if so Eden starts to get cold feet. She for some reason is like, you know, we're teens. I don't think we have the resources to get out of here and survive in the regular world. Plus probably a dose of like, can I even leave this place safely?
Because she knows at that point.
She knows something's up with herself at that point.
She's somehow attached to the island. She knows that. Okay.
And I think that if Lily is reading the diary, she on some level knows this as well. And like they were really close friends. So like she would also maybe have wondered it. And so Eden is like, well, why aren't you worried that I might like
I think that she would be in full denial though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, because Lily has convinced herself all of this is fake. So she would probably be saying, which is another level of betrayal for Eden too. She would be saying to Eden, like, the cult has planted this in your brain. I know that you think you're the void, or you think you're connected to the island, but you're not. They've brainwashed you.
So my idea is we've got all these like emotional dominoes lined up. What if like something happens to Eden that like really freaks her out. She's like, I don't think I can leave. And so she tells the cult and they try to fake a demon scare to scare her into staying.
To scare Lily into saying,
to like convince her that it's real.
Oh my God, that is very smart. And so, yeah, okay, I like that. And I think that Eden should be directly involved with said demon scare. Oh yeah, okay, yes, that would be, yeah, holy crap, that is really good.
And maybe there is like a tiny tendril of it that is like she's genuinely using the void to try and freak her out more. But it's like so much of it Lily sees right through that, like that one little thing she could explain away because like, oh, I just haven't figured out how they did it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. I also think that there should be an element of like, she doesn't, maybe she sort of sees through it, but she's also, she would still be freaked out. Because I think that makes the betrayal like 10 times worse if she's initially like very spooked, right?
And because like Eden would know that she has all this trauma in regards to all of that. So like, so then we would have like Lily taking these parts of Eden's life with her that she thought were very sacred and personal. And then you'd also have like Eden, who has now tried to manipulate something that she like knew full well would hurt Lily.
That's good. I think we have to think about next then, because I love this idea. I do think we have to think about what type of scare it is and why demons scaring her wouldn't make her just get on a boat and be like, I'm fucking out of here. Like, so how does the cult like manipulate that demon scare to get her to stay on the island rather than running away?
Maybe they make it look somehow like if you try to leave, you're gonna die. They aren't gonna let you leave. Because that would be a seed that Eden had planted already. Like, what if I cannot leave?
Right.
And then there could be that level of like, look, I've shown you now that I can't leave. Would you still go without me and leave me here? But it's also like, oh, fuck you. I know that I know that we can both leave because this is all pretend.
I wonder if they do something physically to Eden. Because like whatever would actually happen to, sorry, not Eden, sorry, I mean Lily. Whatever would happen to Eden if she left the island or started to leave the island, if she has like an idea of that, I wonder if she could somehow either, I don't know, like poison Lily or drug her or something to like make something similar start to happen to Lily as she's leaving, so that she thinks like, oh my gosh, I am connected or something, and then realizes obviously that this is all, or I wonder if that's not demon-y though.
I bet like when she's in the boat sailing away, that Eden is having quite a temper tantrum on shore.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, spooky girl scream and just make like literally the earth tremble or like the gorge open up deeper or something.
That would be kind of as she's sailing away though.
Yeah.
I do like that idea. Plus also when she does that, I like the idea of like Lily has already put on her headphones and can hear nothing because she's got this constant playlist, because that's going to be one thing she does all
that's
the
a
time.
weird little wave.
Oh, earthquake. Yeah, I really like the idea of a demon scare and Eden kind of colluding with the cult to do that, and with Lily's parents, because that would be the ultimate betrayal. Like if she hates her parents, and Eden teams up with them. Maybe something, if she has night terrors and if she has sleep paralysis, maybe Eden knows that and knows it's one of the major sources of her fears. If she can like tap into her fear of nighttime somehow.
What if Lily has like a room that faces the lighthouse, so she can always see the light at night, spinning around and around. And so that night they cut it off, and that's the thing that she like wakes up to.
Ooh.
It's
Oh my
like
God.
more darkness than they're supposed to be, and then like they're in there with her.
Oh my God, that's so creepy. Okay, I like that. Beginning of it, whatever is gonna happen. Am I super frozen for you, or is
You
it
are
just
quite frozen for me, yes.
weird? I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm just gonna write this down, and then I wonder if I can try going in and then out again.
Yeah, you could try
Like
just
that.
stopping your video and then turning it back on.
Oh, smart. Hold on. Oh, I'm getting a little rotating circle, so I don't know what on earth my thing is doing here. It just says not responding. What are you doing, computer? All right, we'll give you a minute. You're freaking out. Okay, Lily's room faces lighthouse. Wakes up when it goes out. That's so spooky. I love it. And then we'll just be like, there are people in her room or things in her room.
Yeah.
Just like silhouettes. Yeah, and if you know about like the shadow people of sleep paralysis, that is an actual thing. So good times. Okay, let me try to sort out this frozen issue. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to though, because it's giving me that spinning wheel. I'll try to click out of these things.
You're frozen for me with your eyes closed. It's a great look.
I can see it too. I look fantastic, but I don't know how to get out of it.
I think you should make this your new author photo. Screen grab it for you.
Please don't. The funny thing is, I don't think I can even, what I do. Oh, now the screen's all white. If I click out of this and then click on the Zoom link you sent me again, does that work?
Yeah, I think you should be able to come back in.
Okay.
Let's find out.
Hold on, let me try if I can even hit the X button. It's not responding.
Tell if she's gone or not, but if you're watching this, we're filming this in Zoom, which is not something that we typically do. We usually film in StreamYard, but our StreamYard subscription lapsed, so we're trying out Zoom. I really like their pre-recording feature. That's been really nice for these videos. Let us know in the comments if you're working on anything alongside us, like what kind of projects are you plotting right now? Are you going to be doing camp? Are you doing camp right now? Depending on when this video comes out. How's it going? How is everyone? Oh, I think I can pause this actually. I'm gonna pause this recording until Erin gets back, but you all are lovely, and hopefully if Zoom does what it says it's gonna do, this is going to just pop back on in a moment with both of us here. And if that worked, we're back. Hopefully it wasn't recording me that whole time, just
hanging out.
Yeah, just watching people's stories.
Oh my God. Okay. The computer just had a little hissy fit. I think it's back. I think I'm good. Can I click out of this? Yes. Okay. What were we talking about before my computer just we were talking yeah, the betrayal. We talked about the lighthouse, how her bedroom faces the lighthouse, and it just goes out.
Yeah.
And
you know how like sometimes you like wake up and you're like something's different, but you don't know it yet.
Especially like actually kind of like the idea that maybe it is electric if she's close enough. You know, like when the lights go out, if like a power converter busts or something, and you hear that like ka-chunk, and then everything goes out.
Yeah.
Like if she wakes up to that noise and then is like, what was that?
Yeah.
And then, you know, with sleep paralysis, you often don't know if you get auditory hallucinations. You don't know often the difference between what's real and what's not.
Mm.
So is she is like initially like lying awake, really freaked out, like, was that in my dream? Was that in my head? And then she is looking at the window and she's like, the lighthouse is out.
Yeah.
That would be very, very creepy.
Yeah. And then like the secondary realization just moments afterwards, but like, I'm not alone in this room.
Mm-hmm.
This
I
is
like
sleep paralysis.
if she's it's even if she's having a sleep paralysis moment and then she sees that and she won't know the difference between, you know, if it is or not.
Yeah.
It's very good. I wonder if it's like too horror movie to be like have something on her roof, you know.
Classic.
Okay, so lights go out. She's got sleep paralysis. There are silhouettes in her room, and then we still need to have it so that it's like a you can't leave the island type of thing. So what does the cult think would make it so that she would be too scared to leave the island? I'm trying to think. That kind of implies that somebody's going to say something to her. Like the demon tells her she can't leave the island or something. But again, I feel like that's a recipe to just book it to the dock and get on the next boat.
Maybe because it's like a prosperity type of cult. So maybe
Mhm.
something along the lines of like, if you go, people will be hurt. Like if you go.
Or if you
Yeah.
go, it will follow you.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah. Like this isn't just this
Mhm.
island cult. We're Mr. Worldwide. The cult of Pitbull.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. If you go, demon will follow you. Wonder.
And since this is all in the past, it's not going to be
Yeah, it won't be on the page.
narrated. Yeah. So we don't have to figure out like every detail.
Yeah, I do want to figure out why she has the reaction she has.
Yeah,
and why the cult, why her parents in particular think that she would have the reaction of staying. Oh, like maybe her parents like rescue her from this. Do you think? And then they'll be like, you can't leave home. Cause like we're here to protect you. The cult is here to protect you. Okay, yeah. So they stage a fake attack and a fake rescue, basically.
Yeah, and just overall underestimate her willingness to find out if that is actually the case.
Okay, cool.
And so something unravels and she's like,
yeah.
Fake.
Well, at this point, has she already, like at this point, she's already started to figure out that it's fake, right? Or she suspects that it's fake.
Yeah.
And so that would, I think, obviously make her a bit braver. So she could, instead of just lying in bed, like get out and be like, rip the demon mask off, basically. Be like,
yeah. I think like there's like the instinctual reaction, like the trauma response to it.
Yeah, of course.
But then have like a moment of like, no, I know this isn't real. And so like it doesn't make it not scary, but it like helps you to go flip on the lights.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we could definitely do one where Eden doesn't have to be there, but they attack her with something that like only Eden knows.
Yeah.
Like maybe she has a reoccurring sleep paralysis event that terrifies her the most and has told Eden, so they replicate it or something, you know?
Maybe it is that it's the dark and all she can hear is the foghorn.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, no one else knows about.
Eden is out like fiddling with the boat, trying to poke holes in it or something. So then they can have, you know, an alone time blow up fight over it. Say some things they regret later, but not really because they're not good people. So they both mean everything they say in that instance.
Okay, so she is this reoccurring sleep paralysis episode that terrifies her the most, where she sees where it's pitch black, the foghorn is going off, and she wakes up and there's something in her room. This is her dream / sleep paralysis that she has, and that terrifies her the most, and she tells Eden about this. No one else knows about this. So as soon as it happens and she realizes what's happening, she knows Eden has betrayed her and told her parents this and the cult this, and they've staged it. Particularly if like her terror is never getting off the island. So like in that sleep paralysis,
deep-seated fear.
Yeah. So like in that nightmare / paralysis episode, she could have the demon or whatever, the silhouette standing in the corner telling her like, you know, you can't leave, I'll come with you type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Realizes Eden has betrayed her.
Then she's like, you know what, fuck this, I'll go by myself. I don't need this. I have her diary anyway. Like that was something for me to do, but now I don't feel bad about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then gets to her little rowboat or whatever, the ferry, whatever it is, where however she's getting off, and Eden is there and they fight.
Yeah.
And then they part ways.
The funny thing is, I think that for Lily, particularly if she's just come from having the shit scared out of her, and Eden admitted it, if she were to admit it, that Lily would get physical. I think it would be a physical fight at that point, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
She would get a smack in the face at least. At the very least.
And you know what Eden would do? Oh, and Lily would hate it. She would just turn her face so the other cheek was
Lily would be like, are you turning the other cheek right now? Fuck you. Getting out of this place.
Yeah.
Perfect. I definitely want to, at some point, I guess like we have to figure out how much actual scripture we want the cult to be like spouting off and stuff. Cause like, I'd like to explore the whole like visceral reaction you sometimes get to like Christianese or like scripture type of thing. Like, I know if I hear it out in the wild, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
It would be an interesting thing to explore. If she goes past a church later or she hears it later. Particularly, I like the idea of her being like physically repelled by a church. So it's like it's a little bit like she's already got some kind of void in her. She just strong reaction to it.
Yeah, we could use some like original scripture, and we'd also talked about like their like ongoing creating new scripture, like recording their miracles. Miracles as they happen. And so it could be like some of the things they're quoting are like,
I think we should like take a leaf out of the Jehovah's Witness tree and they can print their own pamphlets, because we wanted to do like a printing press thing, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they have the Bible and that's like a thing, but then their main source of scripture is the pamphlets with like the recording of the miracles and the rules to stay safe from demons and stuff would be in these pamphlets.
Yeah, they could even just call it the pamphlet.
The pamphlets. The holy pamphlet.
Such a weird word.
It is, especially if you keep saying it. It has no meaning anymore.
It only took like 3 tries for my brain to be like, that's not a real word. You have made that up, and someone in the comments is going to be really mean about it later.
Now I have to try to write it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't really get mean people in our comments anymore.
No, because we don't have comments anymore.
Yeah, we get like some comments from
during live chat
regularly watch.
Mm-hmm.
And just like bots.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about the state of YouTube or our YouTube, but
I don't know.
I like our little corner of YouTube.
I do too. I think it's great.
It has become exactly what I hoped it would be.
Small and intimate. Yes.
Yeah. Small
No
but
jerks.
big, but not too big.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We're going to recognize everyone that comes to like the live chats now and stuff.
Yeah,
like I know all their names.
Yeah. And it's always fun too, because then it's like, oh, I recognize when someone new comes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So it's a little exciting. You're like, oh,
how'd you get here? How'd you find us?
How did you get here?
Yeah. Are you lost? Did you intend to be here?
Oh dear.
So I guess that kind of leads into the magic system, which is probably the other thing we need to have semi-hammered out.
Specifically, yeah, specifically the void and how that works. And I don't even know if we figured out if there are actual demons or it's all just your girl doing it, like.
Yeah, no, I think there is an element of stuff that's out of her control, like something is coming out of it. And so there's this like, I'm obviously not the god of the void.
Right. The void.
Which adds an air of mystery for her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I? So I see there's like 3 components. We've got the void, we've got the monsters, and then we've got the miracles. Which are like instances of people being saved from monsters. And so some of the miracles and some of the monsters are faked, but some of them are real. And I think that's all we've got so far.
Okay. Right. So arguably, if you have some real miracles happening, there is sort of a force for good as well, or at least a force that acts in an unpredictable fashion. So we sort of, I think, decided the void was like a tear in the fabric of the universe, essentially, if we want to get really down to brass tacks about what's going on here. Tear in fabric. And I think like we had mentioned that the tear in the fabric of the universe happens through like, because we already have the fact that the ritual was only half performed. Was that what it was? Yeah. So I wonder if it can be like not only half performed, but like they performed it wrong or something, or if they only performed it half of it, it didn't work in the way it was supposed to, and like the void is not supposed to exist. There's not supposed to be a tear in the universe. Yeah. We had said
die. So
yeah,
that there could be enough.
We had said, I remember this now, that the void opened because it was supposed to open, but the second half of the ritual is supposed to close it again. Yeah, and so it's still there because they didn't do it. Okay. Hair and Fabric of Universe. It's going into some other kind of like dimension thing. Like, I definitely don't think we have to get into like the full mechanics, but I do want to know some of them, not to include in the book, but just so we know, right? Hair and Fabric of Universe. Let's say, because only half of ritual was performed, which really ties in neatly in the end, because the cult can try to do, I think we said the cult would try to do the other half of the ritual, which involves Lily as well. What if they're born on the same date or something? Like, there's a reason. Yeah.
That had like crossed my mind when we were talking about the betrayal. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they were born on the same day and someone tells her that she was part of it. And so it's like foreshadowing, but like she doesn't think it's true, and Eden has no reason to think it's true
Right.
either.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, because it makes sense if like the two girls are born on the same date. The rituals you're supposed to, I don't remember what we had said. We said something about the ritual. It acting like a lighthouse, like something sacrificed, and there's a mirror to that sacrifice, something like that. Born on same day. And
so then it would kind of be like Lily was supposed to be this, or Eden was supposed to be the sacrifice, and Lily is the miracle, the monster.
So we're supposed to have like sort of to symbolize maybe like a saint and a sinner type of thing.
Oh yeah.
And then it gets twisted, and then it ends up Void Girl ends up their saint, which is ironic. Part of it.
And I think maybe on the cult's part, like they don't really understand the mechanics of all this. And so it's like, if you're reading the Old Testament, you just know sacrifices. Let's throw a baby in the trench and see what happens.
Fingers crossed that this baby
just hope that our
brings great stuff
goes away.
Okay, so Saint and Sinner works like a lighthouse, that it mirrors it and makes it brighter, I guess, sort of magnifies it, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I was thinking about this recently, and I think that we kind of need, like, we've got the saint, which is Eden, but I think we kind of need like somebody to unify the cult, and B, somewhere that this half information is coming from. So maybe we can come up with some kind of cult leader.
Yeah.
Like, the typical charismatic, maybe a little half crazy dude, usually. Could be a woman, I guess, if we want to. Leading this cult, somebody that, particularly if it's someone that Lily really hates, like really loathes this guy, if Eden goes to him and not only colludes with Lily's parents, but colludes with the person that Lily think ruined her parents, basically. That's a stab in the back for sure. Because I mean, like, we're going to eventually need to have some kind of leader of the cult. So
someone's got to be in charge.
So if he's maybe coming up with, I don't know how he would do like traditional Old Testament sacrifices or something with animals to like try to like read the entrails or something. And he's like, oh, the Lord told me that we have to do this lighthouse sacrifice thing, but he didn't get the whole message properly, or he's like not quite all there. And so the thing goes wrong.
Yeah, especially if this is a cult that's been around for at least a couple generations. If it was like a position of power passed down via lineage, it was like he had a parent who was in charge and they had a parent who was in charge, then there could be some element of like, oh, we were preparing for an end time. And like, this is what we understood to do because the one.
Yeah.
The first
And
guy that we were gonna have.
it would work really well too if it is passed down like generation to generation, because it's kind of like a giant game of telephone, right? They're telling their kids like, this is the spell you're supposed to do, but of course, you know, half of it's missing or whatever. Okay, I like that.
They didn't make their printing press soon enough.
Right. It was all handwritten, and he has like terrible cramped handwriting.
Classic cult leader.
And doctors, you know, both have terrible handwriting.
Okay, I think having that like apocalyptic moment that you're preparing for is a very culty trope.
Oh, very. Yeah, very. Hand it down. Instructions. And so, yeah, we were going to do like tracts or pamphlets, but maybe we could have something older that's handed down through generations.
I mean, he could have like a diary, like a journal.
Journals, yeah.
Journals
with instructions.
And like that would be fragile enough that you wouldn't let just anyone look at it.
And it would make for a good scene too, if you want like Eden in particular to like go through and just be like, I'm burning everything down, and like trashing the leader's office and burning his sacred books and stuff.
Journal stealing heathen.
Just taking a page out of Lily's book there with the journal stealing. Or it could be even like something that they do together if they're
a first date. Cute.
Trash the cult leader's office. Perfect first date.
Yeah, that could definitely be something that's like the first moment they realize that the cult is like doing something behind their backs.
Right. Yeah. It could be like, you know, because we had that like cat and mouse, you know, fun and games scenes multiple, and then finally they realize, oh shit, the cult is the real problem, and maybe they're both having a tantrum and they're both mad and retaliatory, and they're like, let's go and trash this dude's office and burn all his journals. Okay. Through generations. Do we want to pull up the little plotty plot list?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Excel spreadsheet. I'm so afraid.
On one screen today, so I'm not going to share it because I also have all of my homework assignments up. So
I should be able to get to it as well. Oh no, computer, can you not? Okay, that should be okay. I'm so nervous of like clicking any buttons on this computer because I don't want it to like have a meltdown again. Okay. I'm going to open the Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Let's see. Basic beat sheet. Okay. Yeah, so we had, where did we kind of, I love our just random notes. Throw her in trench, question mark. Where do we leave off on this?
I don't know that there was like any spot that we particularly left off. The climax is very not filled out. Just because there was a lot to figure out before we could figure out the climax.
So we figured out the betrayal, which is great. I like our ideas. I think we are so smart.
Look at us go.
Do you think we have enough to try to hash out a bit of a climax, or do you want to fill out some other stuff? What do you think?
Just taking a look at it real quick.
Yeah, same.
I think I want to figure out just a little bit more of what the cult is doing in the background to like sabotage them.
Okay. Okay, because the cult is, that's a good point. The cult is the cult's ultimate goal is to complete the ritual sacrifice, essentially, right? Once they decide that Eden has become too much of an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So just put down.
What if there's like, so the cult leader guy, maybe he's like a little older and maybe he has like a younger son or younger kid who's like preparing to take over the role, and that person is maybe a little more, because this is not a mega fire and brimstone cult, like it's much more of a utopian one. But if this person is like, our utopia is in danger, that could be like a simmering thing.
You would want, what are you doing with the son? He would be the one that would be
like, if he's the one, so like you think the conflict is like, oh, this new guy's just doing things differently or something.
Okay.
It's like a red herring for the fact that he's like really like introducing new doctrine that is slowly going to turn people against Eden and like not necessarily see her as this like perfect saint.
Right.
That way, when he comes out and is like, we need to finish the sacrifice, like,
right. Okay. Yeah.
that they won't be quite so attached to her.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, particularly with the red herring bit. If so is you want him to think that he's like freshly taken over the cult, or his dad is handing him over the cult slowly type of thing?
Yeah, I think maybe like it's like he's allowing there for a while. Yeah, because you're not gonna live forever.
Right. So maybe he's allowing his son to make like the first couple of decrees, and everything that he makes, Eden doesn't like the look of, basically, because it's painting her in a not as good light.
Yeah, and like even if you don't notice at first, like it's
just
exactly that it's like, oh, when you look back on it, you can kind of see how all these things equal me.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Because I'm thinking like, keep it subtle at first, like her name isn't gonna be in any of the decrees. It's not directly calling her out, but it will affect her in a negative way and in a negative light in other people's eyes.
Yeah, like he like puts out a decree or something that's like, we need to make sure everyone's safe. Wear your beads on the outside of your clothes so we can just like something like that.
Do we want to do? We want to do like, I know we don't want to do like a bunch of like black and white type of images, like darkness and light type stuff. Do we want to? Because they're not technically fire and brimstone. But do we want to do like a painting her as a sinner slowly type of thing? Like,
yeah, I could go for that. If he's just like, even if he's not like, you're sinning outright, if he's like, oh, you forgot to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like subtly doing it.
I think for cults and even for like normal church, there's a lot of like indirect language. You know what I mean? So like, you have to be careful that you don't let outside forces influence you and stuff. So not like directly calling you a sinner to your face, but they're implying it, right?
I'm worried about you.
Exactly.
You're doing okay.
So if we can have this new prophet guy, or this, what I guess he would technically be the prophet or whatever, if he's the leader and he's making decrees. So say the new prophet is like, sort of seems like a match for Eden, in that he's soft-spoken and kind, and like he seems very concerned for her. And I don't know if she'd like instantly hate him because she's like, I know what you're doing. I do that. You know, like, you're playing games with a person who's a champion of this game, sir.
Yeah.
But if he would fool all the other people, because she's fooling all the other people with this act, so he's fooling the rest of the cult and saying like, I'm concerned for her. I saw her out 1 minute after curfew last night. Maybe you forgot, but like,
yeah.
and he's not outright being like, she's obviously a sinner. She's obviously let the influence of the darkness or the demons get to her, but he would imply it enough that the cult is starting to like slowly turn against her.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe his like inciting incident that introduces him to the plot is like, like his son has had a vision or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, he's had a vision. He's ready to start training to take over my spot or something.
I like the idea of introducing him in Lily's POV, because this would be a guy, she's probably met him.
Yeah, I would assume they all
It's a small island, but she'd be like, what, since when is what's his face the prophet? Like,
yeah.
So that would be a good, like, through Lily's eyes, is like, this is weird that the weird little kid that I knew 6 years ago or whatever is now like the prophet. And then have him, I think we can convey like that he's changed a lot or something. Like Lily's like, oh, he's really like a smooth talker now. Like,
yeah, like, oh,
ew, he's like his father now.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Okay.
But maybe he like, if they do say like, oh, he's had his first vision, he's ready to start. But maybe, because I just remembered Year of the Witching has like, I want to say that the guy in that has a vision, and then it's like he's gonna take over. So maybe it's just a lie in this one, like he didn't actually have a vision. They're just like ready to transfer power, and it sounds
right. Well, I figure like how the whole like some of the miracles are fake, some of the demons are fake, like most or all of the prophecies are fake, because like I picture that the cult like doesn't actually really know what they're doing. And like we talked about if we want to have the cult somehow harness the void or try to harness the void, but like I kind of like the idea too of giving the prophet or the prophet's son, maybe, I don't know which one, like they're struggling, like they're trying, but like maybe the reason the son is taking over is because the prophet doesn't have a choice, because he's like burned himself out on the void or something, like he had an accident trying to do something.
What if because cults, like, to be successful you have to be like so business minded, and like that's a big question with lots of like high demand religions and cults and stuff, that's like, well, do the higher ups know it's fake? Like how high up do you go? Does everyone genuinely believe it, or do some of them think it's fake? And like, what if because the son knows Eden, like he thinks it's less fake than everyone who came before him? Like like the people who came before him, maybe they like believed it, but also like, no, we kind of have to do some of these things, otherwise people will leave, and we have salvation, like they can't leave. But this guy, no, this is real.
Yeah. Well, so we've got Prophet Senior and Prophet Junior. That's what I'm calling them from now on. The older one also knows him as well, right? So are you saying like his grandfather didn't necessarily think that, but he knows? Okay.
Yeah.
Prophet Senior and Prophet Junior. I kind of want to make it so that Prophet Senior is like a little out of the picture, so that we don't have too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak.
I think maybe he's more worried about the business of the cult, maybe, like,
or the other way around, where like Prophet Senior was what sort of running it into the ground, and Prophet Junior's like taking over, and he's like, well, we need to think about it this way, type thing. Either or.
Or maybe we've got a 3-tiered situation. So you've got like one who ran it into the ground. Because I feel like the young guy who's trying to get it out of the ground is like a very done trope. Like it's always the young guy who's like, but have you thought about the business?
I don't know that it's going to be a business. Oh, do you mean like having influence over people?
Yeah.
Business. Yeah.
Like the marketing of.
I'm like, what are they selling? Jam.
And maybe it's
Essential
not all
oils.
men, since it's not a super patriarchal cult. Like maybe it is like his mom and he's taking it over or something.
We could do a Prophet Junior as a girl if we want. Or Prophet Senior as a woman. Either or.
Yeah, let's think about it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'd love to do that dynamic because I think it causes an extra layer of issues in the cult and an extra layer of complications, and I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely want Junior and Senior, like Senior to probably be more like in the background. Yeah, maybe he's in his office most of the time.
Yeah.
In the office. Yeah, I think we also have to hash out how much they know about the void and like how much control they have over it. Because they don't, I'm picturing they either think they have control or they're trying to have control and it's not working. Like they're not very good at it. Like the stuff they have, because like we already know that they've only done half of the prophecy. It kind of bit them in the ass, but it also kind of works. So they were like, okay. So I'm picturing sort of everything they do with the void being along those lines. They're kind of learning as they go. It's kind of chaotic. They're like, okay, we have demons running through the streets, but we've learned these prayer beads help.
Yeah.
But they keep messing with it because it's power, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's just like the fear of the bad things from before happening again. But now with demons, like
new and
we need to get ahead of this, perhaps.
Okay, so do we want them like trying to actually tap into the void, or they want to close it eventually? Like is kind of their main goal in the end.
Yeah, I'm kind of picturing, and I don't feel like mega strongly about this. If you have as with everything, if you have a different idea, I'm open to it. I'm kind of envisioning like they're kind of barely keeping up with it at the start of the book. Okay. But then like as things become more destabilized, as like Eden and Lily get more tangled up in each other, it is destabilizing kind of the whole magic system, like the whole structure, now that we've got both ends of that sacrifice together. And so maybe they're like scrambling, trying to keep up. And maybe there is a plot point where they're like, oh, we can use this too.
So actually, as you were talking about that, I had thought we have a clear plot structure where it's like coming into town, demons. And then there's a lot of like, that's the story title, demons. There's a lot of like cat and mouse. There's a lot of cat and mouse. And at one point the girls realize, oh shit, the cult is doing this. So there's a clear point where, and I initially was thinking, oh, the cult's just like, okay, that's enough, Eden. We need to put a stop to this. What if at first we see Junior and Senior Prophet disagreeing over something, but we're not sure what it is? So there, we know there's infighting and stuff, but it's kind of in the background. And then we reach the point where maybe Prophet Senior dies. And that's the point the cult comes after them, because what I'm thinking, maybe Junior and Senior have been fighting up till now because Senior has a soft spot for Eden.
Yeah.
And Junior's like, no, she's a liability. In order to regain control of the cult, we need to take her out. We need to close the void. And then they have this, disagreement until Senior, who's not doing well, is gone. And then Junior's like, okay, now's our time. We're going to go after her.
Yeah. And maybe there is an element of like Eden and Lily do something that sets off a chain reaction. That's like the final straw in Senior's death.
Oh, I like that.
It's not really their fault, but
it's
kind of
a byproduct.
It could be.
I like that. Let's do it like it sets off a chain of dominoes type of thing, like when they're fighting each other and they don't even necessarily notice, but Prophet Junior notices.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like Prophet Junior already doesn't love Lily as much as, or not Lily, sorry, Eden as much as everyone else seems to.
Yeah.
Because maybe he feels like she's the golden child of the cult and he grew up as like,
he's
the
like, that was literally supposed to be my job. Like,
yeah. Oh, I like that idea too. Yeah, I really like that. Oh, and that would really fit in well for making him like this kind of passive aggressive, like kind on the outside to Eden, but Eden's like, I know you're full of shit. I know you don't like me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Plus, if Lily and Eden accidentally are what kills the prophet indirectly, Prophet Junior is going to be like going in front of the church and being like, this is what our ex-saint has done. He's killed your prophet.
Yeah.
She has to go.
She was supposed to be in the void this whole time. If she was in the void, this would not have happened.
Exactly. Particularly if he makes some kind of prophecy that like is vague enough that he can later hint at the fact that like, this was the prophecy I made. Like, I knew that Eden would kill my father. Right. And that would totally reinforce the cult's like, oh, this is the new prophet. He was right, you know?
And then even if they like still manage to have a few people who are like, well, was it really her fault? But then like, bam, it comes out that she like purposefully killed Lily's parents.
Well, especially too, if they have this reaction at some point when the cult moves against them, when the cult is just starting to move against them, where Lily and Eden go into the old prophet's office, maybe even before they know he's dead, and just like burn the place down, wreck all the journals and stuff, the church is going to go, oh, okay, like you killed him and then you ransacked his office. Like neither of you are the good guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then of course it would be like that moment where they're like, oh shit, he's dead and we just destroyed his office. Like, awkward. Okay, awesome. The best first date, ransacking an office together and burning all the journals.
So maybe next week we can look a little deeper into like, because I feel like we have a few very cool plot lines and now we have to like work them all together into one.
Together. Yeah.
So maybe that can be like our next week thing, is just like, how are all these things going to layer together?
Right.
Like, where each of their individual reveals going to be paced out in relation to each other.
Mm-hmm. Somehow. Okay. Next week, combine plot lines, reveals, so that it actually makes sense. Are you okay with still using the Excel? Because I think that lays it out the best in my brain.
Yeah, we can add a row to it for the cult.
Awesome. Perfect.
See what they're doing in the background.
Perfect. Yeah, because I've been doing that for the Druid book as well. Just having like not Excel, but like actually on a sheet where I'm like, okay, these are the plot lines and these are what's happening simultaneously. And that way you kind of everything unfolds right in front of you, so you can see she realizes this when he's realizing this, and stuff like that.
Like, how can I make these all just absolutely topple into each other in the worst
exactly
way?
Like, we'll have to figure out what exactly Lily and Eden, how they indirectly kill the prophet, essentially, like little things like that. And then some deaths. And then also kind of like fill in. I'm very excited, I think, to fill in the like fun and games cat and mouse, like what they're doing to each other, like at some point. So I don't know if that'll be next week, but I'm very excited for that.
And now that we have this Prophet Junior, I feel like we have a possible sacrifice for the climax. If we do need to like if they reverse, like Uno reverse card, and just throw one person into the void or something. So
I'm thinking
stay.
he's cannon fodder. Yeah. He's like, the fact that he's like this passive aggressive little twerp that's like wants to kill both of them is like, yeah, he's going to die.
Yeah.
Is
or
he
we like fully make him void like keeper?
he's
now
just stuck
cursed.
there.
He's just
Well,
stuck there.
we talked about, okay, well, we're gonna throw Eden off the top of the lighthouse, and then she's gonna pop up and be like, thanks, that was a great swim, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if we want to do a repeat performance, but we could have Lily and Eden kill him in some way. I don't know if it wants to be like, if we want it to be like a ritual way where, I don't know, where they put the void in him too, or they throw him in the void, or they just straight up murder him. I don't know.
Think about it. I feel like there's something really creepy we could come up with, but I don't think I'm in the headspace to come up with it right
I'm
now.
just gonna put, how do we gank Prophet Junior? He needs to die. We just need to figure out how.
Yes.
I am in favor of chucking people off the top of the lighthouse, but I do acknowledge that we can only maybe get away with that twice at best.
Maybe Lily is like, or Eden is like, should we just throw him off? And Lily's like, well, that didn't exactly work last time.
I already tried that. God.
Yeah. I mean, we could do it, but we should have a backup.
Because Lily be like, I just kind of want to chuck him off the lighthouse.
I just want to
like,
see how he would look. Just on the ground.
Falling through the air. I don't know why. I just really want to throw some people off a lighthouse, apparently.
Yeah. I think there's like an element of Eden's character where she is almost bored like by the day-to-day of her life. And so like nighttime is fun, but even that is getting a little boring for her.
Yeah.
That's
because I feel like
coming from.
Yeah, I feel like that is one of the reasons for our little cat and mouse game, when they like, it's sheer chaos. And I feel like the moment where they're like kissing in front of like the creepy shrine thing she has, like instead of killing you, like break to kiss and then we'll kill each other later, like that is very chaotic and insane, but like that would be fun to Eden, I feel like.
Yeah, she'd be like, oh, finally something new.
Yeah.
No one wants to make out with me in front of their shrines these days.
Everyone's so boring. I feel like there is a certain element of chaos in Lily as well, in that I think instead of like, yay, chaos, that Eden is, Lily is like, okay, and then what? Right? Like, what the hell is
like, no, we can't just have chaos. There must be plot.
But Lily, I think Lily, instead of like pushing her off and being like, you were just trying to murder me, would be like, okay, this is what we're doing next. Okay, what happens next? Right? So there's a sense of like, this is how the story is unfolding. Okay. You know?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Okay, so I've got down a couple of like little questions. How do we gank the Prophet? Did we have another question that we were kind of like trying to figure out?
Next week we want to combine the plot lines and reveals as well.
Combine the plot lines, figure out what we're going to do to kill the Prophet. Also, I think we had a put a pin in it thing with the what's the cult going to do, or did we figure that out?
Oh yeah, like the exact timeline of what their goals
exact
are
thing,
and what they're doing.
Yeah, exact thing. Cults is going to do. I think we can sort of put a precise timing on when they start doing what they're doing when Prophet Senior dies, but we'll have to figure out what Prophet Junior's plan is. So everything kind of, homework revolves around Prophet Junior, apparently. What's his plan, and what spectacular fashion does he die in?
Yeah.
What is Junior's plan? Okay. Awesome. That's enough homework for me to wrap my brain around.
Yeah.
I just need something to like chew on for the next week.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like
Figure
I don't
something out.
think right off the bat what I need to
Exactly.
be thinking about. I will not. I will be
Exactly.
out of my brain in 3 hours.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, I feel like that's particular. I don't know about you, but particularly because I have another project I'm working on. If I don't have like a clear idea of like where are we going next with this, my brain will be like, that's too much work to think about. So let's just think about this other thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. Yeah, so I guess that's it for this week. Like and subscribe if you like this and want to be subscribed to our content. And thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sticking along with us while we are planning out and writing a book together. Let us know down in the comments what you're working on, how it's going for you. And yeah, we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.